Yeah, hello everyone, and welcome to the stream. I'm Obsidia, the DM of this campaign. As is tradition, we're going to do round the table introductions before a brief session recap and then jump right into it. I do want to say, as a note about the previous session, I was unaware that I had the wrong mic link to it. That's why I sounded so garbage. And apparently, I was muted for like the last 15 minutes of the episode. So uh, B was kind enough to re-record the whole conversation she had with the Diane, and I spliced that into the video that was then put on YouTube. So once again, super apologies for how last session went. um, but hopefully this one will be better. So next up we got B.
Hi, my name is Beatrix Spunny. I'm the taxidermy jackalope brought to life by the power of love and slightly mad science. I do variety streams focused on roguelikes, digital artwork, and RPGs. I am going to get back to the Deadlands campaign as soon as I've gotten all of the notes about what characters want, but that's neither here nor there. If you want Wild West horror, I can take care of that. If you want urban fantasy heists, I'll hopefully be able to take care of that soon. But either way, uh, I am delighted to be here, and I am delighted to be playing Feng-chen Wong. I am a hobgoblin artificer, and I suppose the future Diane Rowe. The pleasure is yours.
Thank you, B. Next up we got Meris, assuming he's not hiccuping still.
I have been released from the curse of hiccups, thankfully, just in time. But yes, hello, I am Meris Aurum. I am a Celestial Dragon VTuber. I specialize in storytelling streams where we read books and we talk literature and media literacy, and it's a great time. Um, I also DM my own campaign called The Trial of Hearts. It's an ode to all things romantic fantasy. So if you like drama, intrigue, shenanigans abound, and very messy romance, definitely tune in. But while I'm here, I play Soleil, the party's hot pink tiefling fae werewolf himbo. And it's always a pleasure to play this single brain-celled man.
Excellent. Thank you, Maris. Next up, we got Sif.
Oh, that's me. Hi, I'm Sif underscore VTuber, living suit of armor. I do art, I play games, working on a couple of new models, and I'm going to be looking into Art Fight this coming month, so that'll be fun if you want to catch it on my channel. I'm here as Nafisa, silly little stone dragonborn girl with her pet dog deer thing, Nyx. But yeah, it's great to be back and great to be with everybody despite the 100-degree heat wave outside my house. I love you guys because
Thank you, Sif. I indeed hear it is muy caliente outside. I uh, I have been indoors all day in my wonderful AC. Having grown up in Southern California without AC, I never wish to live that life again or wish it upon anyone else. Um, and then last but never least, we have Lily.
Hello, everyone. My name's Lily. I am an aspiring artist that draws a lot of D&D characters as well as just other general stuff. I've been doing a lot of a lot of good stuff, a lot of stuff that's not being posted to Blue Sky at the very least. So hopefully we'll be able to reveal that in nine days, right, Maris? But otherwise I am playing tonight. I'm playing Aurora, the satyr sheep wizard bimbo girl who is, as we always say, going through it, but is on the slow upswing. But very excited to be here.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lily. So yeah, previously on Nexus Forlorn Legacy, our plucky group of adventurers found themselves assailed by gentrifying forces in the Penumbra, the outer unincorporated neighborhoods of the city of Zhuhai. And as they were fighting off fire-breathing temple dogs, as well as enormous Earth Ganassi women and spry Fire Ganassi monks and arcane archers, they were eventually able to, after some level of destruction to the neighborhood, subdue the Earth Ganassi non-lethally, and then tackle down the arcane archer after they killed all of the temple dogs. And then Omega, everybody's favorite nanomachine swarm, ate the monk that was attacking them because they didn't realize they were not supposed to kill these people. And with that, Feng engaged in some interrogation of them and learned that at the end of the day, these people are not really criminal masterminds, but rather they were paid mercenaries that have been making their money doing this, and a almost comically small amount of money for the lives that they have destroyed. And that, you know, their defense was they're just trying to make a living in this world. And they got passed off to the goblinoid neighborhood of Clan Wangjihai to be further interrogated and used in the legal defense of the region to stop the gentrification efforts, at least for the short to medium term, as it would be a big PR disaster for the bad guy mega corporation houses that were trying to engage in this. After that, the party helped do some cleanup of the damaged city. Thankfully, while some people did die in the defense of the neighborhood, that the overall body count was significantly lower than what it could have been without the work of our heroes. And so they spent the rest of the night working, cleaning up, trying to help people, take care of the wounded, etc., before they were finally dismissed in the morning as just being super exhausted and needing some time to rest. They were also basically told that whatever happens to these prisoners after they've served their purpose, because they have done a lot of harm to a lot of people in the goblinoid community, and certainly the Diane and his leadership council were not willing to go out on a limb to help these people, regardless of how tragic their stories might be. But their fate would ultimately be led in the unforgiving and unmerciful whims of their megacorp masters. Upon returning to the area, Feng-chen sat down with the Diane Korlu Wangjuhai, a elderly goblin gentleman, and discussed some very deep philosophical concepts about what it means to be a clan, why goblinoid culture is structured the way it is, and is there any way to really change it? And ultimately, his arguments was this is done because they've been the victims of persecution and genocide, and if they have clearly been made apparent that if they do not defend their society, then they will be left at the whims of others, and that they are communal oriented because everything is about the continual survival of goblinoid culture. And he basically said, you want to change that? Well, you're young, you're optimistic, maybe you'll have a better shot, but I can tell you that you're still loved even if you're a silly little rebel, because at the end of the day, the biggest thing about goblins is that it's about family. Vin Diesel certified philosophy. So with that, Feng left the area. Also two minor notes. Because of the destruction, much of the elaborate art pieces of Clan Wangjuhai's history was damaged in the fires, and they promised to, basically start to repair them and create new works from them. And Feng noticed a strange subject in one of the older sections of these ancient tapestries that appeared to belong to a non-goblinoid character, a quote-unquote white woman alert, wearing a outfit of red and orange and yellow with notes of black, but much of that portion of the tapestry had been burned away, so there was no seeing in the face or anything else. or any other distinguishing features about her. And so we'll actually start off with Soleil. Soleil, my boy.
Yes.
What do you do this morning after waking up?
Yeah. So I think since everybody else is kind of making themselves busy uh with their own individual and unique ways to help out after the fires and the devastation, I think Soleil would have been pondering, through the night and the morning, okay, what can I do that's actually like meaningful work? Like, of course, I
Mhm.
can lug stuff around. I'm a big dude, I can help with cleanup. But something that only he can do is something that he'd be considering. So even though both Feng and Aurora are already on their own uh artistic endeavors in trying to help out the Diane. I think he's going to go out and about and procure some artistic supplies of his own. So like really good quality tapestry paper, um good ink. He's got his own brushes, so no need to worry about those. Um and I think he's going to acquire those and work on a little project of his own.
Okay, sounds good. You're able to go buy that. You know, this is a major city. You can easily find a place that sells it. Um, it is daytime again, so once again, the city of basically in all of its glass everywhere and reflecting all the kaleidoscope of colors and the many Ganassi people going about their daily lives. You do pass by at one point a very large cathedral to the Tetrarchy, uh, where you see the very familiar, because you've been in the material plane for a while now, and especially in places that venerate the Tetrarchy. So you see the starburst with the circle around it, and a statue of it's like a phoenix rising um, out of a volcano in front of the cathedral with a sun above it, and just you kind of stroll by, and the very cathedral itself is structured so that it's very much like these rising curling wings around the sides of what is much like on Earth, how cathedrals are cross shaped. The cathedrals here are much more pointed in that starburst shape of a cross, but it has these great crested wing arches over it. Um, but you get your supplies. Where do you wish to work?
I think he would attempt to work alone in like a
Mm,
solitary space. Um, so either, in his room wherever they're staying at,
mhm.
or if, I presume there's going to be a lot of hustle and bustle around, the Diane's,
Yeah.
administrative building. But if he were able to find like a quiet spot with a lot of floor space, um, that's
uh,
the trick. A
you
lot
can
of
you can
floor
like
space.
rent a place for the afternoon, I guess.
Cool, cool.
Yeah, so you
Um,
find like it's like an art studio that you basically just rent for the afternoon.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, and he's just going to spend the bulk of the day in a very sort of singularly minded artistic flow, and attempting to create something very personal, and meaningful to pass on to Clan Wong. And I imagine it's something like one of those long um landscape calligraphy paintings.
Mhm.
So sort of starting at the top, it's like this dense, almost black forest, sort of a representation of the the Feywild where he comes from, or at least his part of the Feywild. Um and shifting down into what looks like a small, quaint goblinoid village.
Mhm.
And this is a place that he's heard about, but he's never really seen in person. And this is the village that his father uh, essentially torched and then rebuilt. um, um, and just working on this painting for the the majority of the day, and when he's finally satisfied, the ink is dry, rolls it up, and starts to head back home.
Okay. Heading back to the hotel or heading to the Goblinoid area?
I think he's going to go to the hotel first, because he does want to sort of show this to Feng and Aurora first, so he's not like treading on their feet for
Okay.
like what they're working on. So he wants to show what he's been working on.
Okay. You head back to the hotel. Once you get back there, you spent the afternoon. You arrive, and Feng's just getting back as well. So she kind of encounters you as you both are heading into the hotel. You with your big scroll under your arm, and Feng with her newly enchanted mask. And at that you could, I don't know, say hi, or you could wait till you get Aurora up in the mix as well.
Yeah, I think he would acknowledge, Feng, just give a little wave and just afternoon, Feng, keeping busy.
I certainly try. Yourself?
Been trying. How goes your restoration project?
Uh, how does it go, DM?
Uh, what did you want to contribute to the project? Because you did talk to the Diane for a while. How do you want to help in fixing stuff up? Do you want to use your Weaver's tools, I guess, or?
I think it would definitely make sense, I think, to want to use some Weaver's tool proficiencies here. If also, like, if I can just make note of some of the history as well, that feels like it would. It just feels like something she would do because it's what she's been taught. This is what you do with this.
Okay. Make a Weaver's tools check with intelligence. See the quality of your work.
15.
15. Not bad. Not bad. Yeah, so you of course get like some of Clan Wangjuhai's history just from your dad Shi Wen. Um and there's also like context clues, and people in the community and stuff can tell you. The Diane, to the best of his ability, could try and tell you what he knows, but you know once you get past about 200 years, history becomes much more fuzzy.
Hmm.
It's much more like concepts about like things, just because it's like, well, we had a big tapestry that said
Yeah,
that.
of course.
So yeah, it's you get some of the notes, because basically it kind of got burned all along the portions of it. So you get some stuff from like real early on versus some parts from later on. So you have some notes about the original founding of Clan Wangjuhai, who they started off as a clan in the Royan Row, but because of politics that occurred there, they ended up choosing to emigrate to the Solari Empire and set up shop in Juhai, where they have been for the last 700 years. Um, and they're involved in all kinds of economic projects and political projects. They've even have some tales going back to fighting in the Imperial Army.
Hmm.
back in those are much further back. Apparently that's like real early history. But once the desolation happens, that part of it is not addressed again in the stories. So
Interesting.
apparently something went down with the desolation, and Wang Juhai chose not to do military service anymore for the Empire. Which, you can put two together and assume, yeah, that makes sense. The whole genocide of goblins by the Solari Empire is probably not endearing to that aspect.
For sure.
But that it's much more of them being involved in facilitating a lot of like local businesses outside of the coronal houses. So really, a lot of like actually a surprising amount of community organization and impromptu, or I guess unofficial unionization of the Penumbra regions, trying to keep them unincorporated from the rest of the coronal houses. But that's kind of like the gist of what Wang Juhai has been engaging in for the last half millennia. So you're it takes you hours. It's weaving. This isn't like drawing where you might be able to speed it up, but this is weaving, so it's quite time consuming. But you start plugging in some of the gaps, and making sure you do the gold thread from where areas have been burned, and you can tell you're putting your best into this, and your heart's really in it, but your quality is definitely not comparable to some of the earlier pieces that were done, but that is the nature of goblinoid art. Like, it's about the beauty of the endurance of life, and combining the just because one thing was destroyed does not mean that it is somehow deprived by being enduring and continually done. So you start adding some of your pieces to it. So that's your weaving success of the day as you talk to Soleil.
Nothing too impressive, I suppose, but compared to the greatest in this root of my clan's history, I would not be so immodest to expect much more.
He's gonna scooch up like real close, like zero personal space to like get a good look at your handiwork, and just, this looks really fine, Feng. I apologize when I say it looks a lot better than I expected it might.
It is quite a bar of entry. I would take no offense.
I think the Diane will be mighty pleased.
Yes, I hope so.
I I got a gift of my own for the Diane and for your clan. I hope it's not too presumptuous of me to have done so. I'm not much for restoring history. Definitely not my area of expertise, you might say, but I like to think I'm pretty good at making new stories, though.
Mhm.
So I'd like your input, if it's all right, before I give it to the Diane, or if it's a bad idea or stupid idea, then I won't do it. But
Of course, I'd be more than happy to appraise however I can.
By the way,
gives a nod.
Soleil, please make a calligraphy roll check using dexterity.
I believe in you.
Oh, please be good.
Okay.
16.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah, that's
okay.
pretty good.
You know, you're better than Fung.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's, you know, it's much like with Fug's description. You know, you are not an artist by trade, but you did your best, and it shows.
Thumbs up. But he unrolls this uh scroll of a painting that he's been working on, and you see exactly, you know, what I described. It's this dark forest transitioning into a quaint village that looks uh I'm trying to think of the right word, but the village looks like it's been rebuilt. Nothing about it is particularly shining and glistening. It's very quaint, very humble.
Okay.
Um, it's it's a little piece of my clan to give to yours.
Oh, this is. I I was not expecting it to be something so personal, but I think I think the sentiment is more than enough on its own. Although this is still, I would say, a piece of very good quality.
Well, shucks,
Yeah.
Fung, you don't have to flatter me none.
I try not to be more deceitful than I have to be, so please take it as honest that I think you have done quite well.
Thank you. I haven't had the opportunity for feedback in a while, so I appreciate it.
Yes. I'm happy to be able to provide it.
Well, if you think it's all right and not too terribly personal of a piece, I was thinking I could give it to the Diane.
I think that would be, from my understanding, more than acceptable.
Right. Good, good. I'll just thank you again. Um it's not just this. I mean, just in general, since we've been here in Juhai, it's been nice to spend some time with you, get to know each other a little better. Anyway,
Ah,
I'll
it's
I'll be heading
nothing.
out.
Yes.
Starts rolling up the scroll. Oh, I almost forgot. And he unrolls it back out again, takes out his ink and brush set. I almost forgot to sign it. And in the bottom right hand corner, he kind of hovers for a little bit as he writes his first name in goblinoid from top to bottom.
Mm.
And he pauses for a moment, takes a deep breath, writes his full name with the clan name, Soleil Sunjiao.
Mm.
Waits for the ink to dry, fanning it a little bit. An awkward amount of time passes. He rolls it back up.
I think it's going to be hard to be particularly strong presence here, given the sheer difference in scale. But I think she would try to, once it's rolled up, give him the sort of the back clapping a little bit, like, yeah, good job.
Trusty 8 strength artificer patting your back.
I never said I was strong.
You got a metal arm though.
True.
Yeah,
You
I
take
guess that is
1d10
true.
damage.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Forbidden pats.
Forbidden pats. Yeah, he'll look to you, Feng, give you a nod of his head, and just I'll be back eventually. See you later. And gives another like awkward wave and kind of shuffles out of the room.
Fair.
So yeah, you peace out before encountering Aurora. And does that mean you're heading to the Penumbra?
Yes.
Okay. You eventually arrive there. It's much in the continual state of when you left it this morning. Because at this point it's evening. Between the snooze time and working on your piece and everything. And you see the city begins to take on its red coloration as all the lights turn red and all the glass begins to reflect it. And so it's kind of odd just seeing this very heavily damaged neighborhood just entirely cast in red with these very dirty people, where because of just the coloration and stuff and the shading, some of them have soot and dirt and stuff on them from the cleanup efforts, and it looks like people are just walking around with like basically dark blood coming off of them, which in some cases is accurate, but as a whole is just a trick of the light as you go through the neighborhood. And eventually you can make your way to the central clan hall, where you're most likely to find the Diane.
Yeah, he's gonna, look around. He's got the scroll tucked under his arm, looking either for the Diane himself or for his bugbear assistant.
Gotcha. Yeah, as you look through it, you see that there are already some goblinoids that are contributing to the repair efforts in here. You can make a quick perception check for me.
Okie dokie. 17.
All right, 17. You notice that some of them are actually you begin to see them doing mock-ups of the art of you guys.
Oh.
And it's like the initial sketching stage before they do more like dedicated painting for it, but you see some of them are working on it. And it's it makes you feel good, and you begin to see the characters being written on it, talking about the the prodigal daughter and the cousin from a strange land, and their outsider companions rising up to defend the community against oppression. And so you see that, you see all the other people working and cleaning and everything, and constant relay of messengers and just kind of probably foremen and stuff coming to and from the place, talking to a very tired looking Diane.
Oh no.
With his with the Shin Yen, the bugbear woman, Zoli, kind of standing next to him and stuff, and acting very much as a a go for getting him more drinks and food and stuff, and more paper and everything as he's there. And he sees you approach, and kind of takes off his glasses for a second and rubs his eyes a bit and goes, "Ah, if it isn't Mr. Chow, welcome. Sorry that things are a bit a mess here. I pray that it is not a reflection on our hospitality.
Oh no, of course not. I understand. I come at a very busy time. Everything is honestly, it's looking quite well. Y'all are very resourceful, I have to say.
Resilience is partially one of our strongest traits. we,
Hmm.
despite the best efforts of everyone else in this world, we do always survive and always come back.
Hmm. Speaking of which, if it pleases you, I have a gift for you and for Clan Wong. It's a little piece of my home and my my clan, what's left of it, and I'm not much for restoring history. Um, I'm afraid that coming from where I come from, we view longevity a little differently. I don't think I'd be much help in helping you recover what's lost, but I hope that in some small way this can help you remember to make something new. And he'll offer the rolled up painting to the Diane.
Uh, the Diane gives you a very tired smile. I had inclinations that you were likely from a particularly long lived breed, just based on some of your cosmetics. But your gift, Mr. Zhao, is quite welcome. And uh, Zoli, if you will. And she takes the scroll from you and unfurls it on his desk. And he looks at it, and you see his, kind of looking it up and down, and goes, "Ah, Soleil Sun Zhao. Quite a strong name."
Yes, sir. It was my father's name.
It, if you will allow me to say, does seem as if your father was obviously a strong influence on your life, and perhaps you could tell me a bit about him and your clan.
Certainly. My father, Kashan was his name. Um, he was a warrior and a leader. His clan history is complicated, to put it gently. The Zhaos had a family feud between brothers, and most did not survive it. My father and I were, well, I'm the last one now.
Diane kind of
But
nods.
but you see that village there in the painting. That's where the conflict took place. The feud happened. My father nearly lost his life. He came back, had to practically raze it to the ground and rebuild. So I'm sure I don't need to tell you all how to rebuild and carry on, but I hope that it helps to know you're not the only ones who've had to do so.
It is tragic to hear about a brother turning on brother and it causing such destruction. There's so many horrors in this world without us trying to hurt each other. But it is an excellent tale of endurance, survival. I'm sure your father would be very proud of his story continuing here and through you. I will say, while you are unfortunately burdened with being the last of your clan, he puts a little hand on yours, he goes, you are simply the last of your clan for now. I hope that in the future your family will grow and that you will no longer be the last child and you will be able to smile down on your own children when you eventually join your clan ancestors.
Well, and you can't see his face, but he is kind of flushing a little bit at that. Well, I certainly hope that a situation arrives and I will be able to, expand on the clan, so to speak, but I've also found that, and I think my father believed this too, family is very much what you make of it. I was raised goblinoid, but I'm sure you can tell just by looking at me, I don't have an ounce of goblin blood in me. I'm not a I'm not related to my father by blood. But that didn't make me any less his son. So that's definitely something that I hope to carry on.
He nods and looks up at you and goes, well, while you are a rarity at just taking on the burdens of what it means to be goblinoid without being born into it quite the same expectations. I find it deeply honoring that it has meant so much to you, and that it has meant enough to you that you would fully embrace our traditions to the point of even standing alongside a strange clan in a strange land. While you claim to not have any goblin blood within you, I assure you, your blood runs just as potently as any other member of my clan.
I'll say so, Diane.
It's the least I can do. I would like to show you something.
Of course.
Gestures for Zolita, pick him up, and he leads you into one of those. I guess the best way to describe it would be a catacombs armory, which is where all of the Rodai and stuff of the clan are stored, and much like before, you see just tens of thousands of weapons of all different kinds there, many of them with little trinkets and those. Many over the centuries have added their connections here, and it serves, for these connections will forever bind them to our clan and to our family. We know as we protect these, they will protect us. And he, just shows you the array of things of, this is testament to just how far back this goes and how many people have been through here, and goes. These are all our ancestors who will watch over us. And while you may believe yourself to be the last of your clan, I can only presume in turn that there is a similar connection point between you and generations of family before you. Know that while it may feel a dreadfully lonely place to be in this world, you are far from alone.
Soleil's very quiet in this moment. He's just sort of looking at all of the various, things that are on display and just kind of taking it all in, and gives a very, solemn nod of his head. I understand. If you'll allow me to be honest, Diane, I regrettably have not attempted to make such a connection with my father's family. I think I would be. I'm worried that they'd find me a little too different. I don't know if I'd really belong. I know I did with my father, but as for the rest of the clan, I don't know if they'd be quite so open-minded.
Yeah. Gives a just very long pause and says, well, I cannot opine as to the nuances of your clan. I do not know where your family originates, what country you are from, if you are like Miss Feng-chen and come from Avalon and the UFAS or not. But I know the rest of the world is a very large and different place than Zhuhai. And I can only say from what you have told me that your father loved you profoundly, and that if he has joined your ancestors, that I'm sure he has reiterated to all of them your role as his son. And he just kind of stops. He doesn't really know what else he can say.
Yeah, I'm sure he has. You're right. You're right. I think he must have.
Well, I can only hope, and you bear your Rodai proudly as he looks at your swords. And as long as you have those you're connected to your clan and to your family. So I can say that you at least continue to honor them as far as I am aware.
He looks a little like sheepish at that, like his body posture, which has kind of been growing taller as his confidence has been bolstered, kind of sags a little bit again. And he does not have the heart to tell this man that he does not use these swords. Um and but he'll just kind of nod and just I do my best to take very good care of them.
You as it says that is you're kind of internalizing this. You feel your hand kind of absently go to your father's sword, and while the Fae may not dream, they do remember. And you you flash back to when you're probably 8 or 10 years old, and you are in this kaleidoscopic forest outside of Oberon's hunting lodge, where there are numerous practice dummies and practice weapons and a rack of your father's weapons next to it, and you find yourself with you're holding a wooden practice sword because your father, despite your young age, has been teaching you how to use weapons basically since the moment you could lift them up. However, you're still like 8 or 10 years old, and this wooden sword just feels incredibly bulky. And try and bop into this dummy, and you feel the inclination because you've seen your father do it before. You pick up a second sword, and you become incredibly unwieldy as you kind of just tap into this thing repeatedly. No grace, no real skill, and you hear a voice behind you say, "To think I came outside and expecting to see my child training to be a bard based on the drumming I had heard. I assumed I was teaching you to be a warrior." And there is your father standing behind you, a giant of a man. And he's wearing his kind of short black silk robe with all the gold designs on it, and a pair of black like military fatigues with combat boots. And he's a hobgoblin male in his probably mid-50s, clean shaven, several gold scar tattoos across his face. His eyes always have this kind of hard sadness to them that your dad very rarely displays that kind of emotion to you, but it's something that's just always stuck with him over his years, as his red eyes looking over you holding the two swords, his hair pulled back, not quite salt and pepper, but black with just streaks of silver running through it in a high kind of bun with a pair of gold and black pins holding it in place, as he just looks out at you.
I am a warrior.
You could have fooled me with your attempts to bash into this dummy using two weapons. I don't believe I had begun instructing you on how to do that.
Kind of tilts his head up in a very like hoity-toity fashion, like, you don't need to teach me. I figured it out.
Yes, I see your opponent is quivering in fear of your every strike.
Looks back at the dummy, unflinching, unmoving. Looks back at Kai-Chen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Soleil, please put the second sword down for a moment.
big pouty face, drops one of the swords. The smaller of the two, mind you.
Um, and he, he picks it up in his hand, and he goes, "The reason why I haven't taught you how to use two swords yet is because it is an incredibly advanced skill. When you are wielding a weapon, you strike with focus, precision, and absolute certainty. When you are using only one weapon, it is simpler to be able to concentrate on these things. But rather than thinking that by wielding a second, as he takes your other sword from your hand, and you kind of tug it a bit, but he's infinitely stronger than you. And he holds the two swords as he kind of starts slowly moving them in various sword patterns. And he says, the most difficult part of using two swords is the fact that if you are uncareful, the second one will block your own strikes. Your brain inherently is trying to drive everything into your first hand, and by you using a second, you confuse it. It takes infinitely more focus to be able to keep the motions, the flow of each weapon separate. When you're ready, I will teach you this. But you still have not displayed to me sufficient focus, precision, and certainty to warrant that."
Rose. I'm focused, he says as his eyes are already, like, going behind Kai-Shen, looking at, like, a bird or something.
Kai-Shen kind of rolls his eyes, and he puts the swords, like, just throws them into the ground, and they actually, like, bury a little bit in the ground standing up. And he goes over to a weapon rack, and he takes off his long curved longsword, the one that you wield in the modern day. And he walks over and starts doing some of the sword figures with it, and then kneels down next to you and says, "Here, take it."
Really?
I want you to hold it and see how it feels.
Takes out his hands, waits for the sword to be dropped into them, and I imagine it's just heavy upon impact, and it is instantly on the ground.
Kai-Shen, kind of grunts, and your dad takes teaching you very seriously, and so he's not laughing about it, but it's obviously he was stifling a laugh. And he picks the sword up again, and this time he doesn't just like set it into your hands, he slowly puts it into your hands and like wraps your hands around it with his. And as you hold it, he starts moving your hands with his hands. And he goes, "Do you feel the weight of the blade?"
It's heavy.
"It will get lighter as you get stronger. But the important thing for you to know is when you hold this sword, you become an instrument of death. The lives of everyone around you, including yourself, are now at your very whim. If you do not wield this with the care and respect it deserves, you run the risk of hurting someone dear to you, or worse, killing them. Every time you wield this, you hold that power of death in your hands, and the only thing stopping you from being able to take their life is your own focus, your own precision, and your own dedication. You are not one of your mother's dogs. You are a warrior. And know the great burden you bear by assuming that mantle.
Gives a nod very vigorously and looks up at him with just sheer admiration in his big childlike eyes.
And your dad smiles at you. His sharp, fangy teeth, just giving you a very warm smile. You see the crinkles around his eyes as he does so, and you feel him grip your hands a little tighter around the sword. And then you hear, "Oh, was that the little pup out there?" And you look up, and there are some of your mother's hounds walking into the clearing. It is a male human, a female, what appears to be probably a half orc, as well as a what's it called, a deer shifter male. And you see your father immediately harden up and just turn and glare at them.
Soleil's got his chest like puffed up, like he's trying to make his like 10-year-old self look as big as possible, and just, not a pup, I'm a warrior.
Oh, we got ourselves a warrior. And Kai-Shen kind of stands up at that and takes the sword from your hands and puts it back in its sheath. And the male human kind of looks at it and goes, "I don't know why you're wasting time with this. We could teach you plenty how to fight. Go right in there, get the savagery out, ferocity, tear them apart, feel the blood flowing on you. That's what a fight's really about."
My father says you gotta be super careful when you're fighting. Y'all aren't careful.
That's what a mortal would say. We all made our contracts with the Houndmaster. We got ourselves an eternity here with the Barghest. We don't have to worry about such things. We know that we're gonna keep on keeping on. Immortality is a luxury that we get to savor. And it seems that perhaps that would be a better way to teach the young prince rather than simply restraining himself to mortal sensibilities.
Soleil kind of looks up at Kai-Shen. I know you said he's like kind of hardened. Is he still looking like infinitely peeved?
Yes, you see Kai-Shen walk over to some of the racks, and he takes off his robe and slings it over one of the racks. And you see your dad is, you are very jacked in the modern age. Your dad was very muscular and strong, but he was much more lithe than you are. And you see, all of his muscles covered in those gold tattoos everywhere. You see over his left pectoral and heart are in Goblinoid the 5 carved in gold scars of his previous 2 wives and 3 kids who were killed. And then you see the massive gold scar. The only scar on his back is a massive gold scar just to the right of his spine that is mirrored on his stomach, going just below his pectoral down to his pelvis, which was where he is mentioned it was when he was stabbed by his own brother. And he kind of rolls his muscles a bit as he picks up his polearm, his long, curved-bladed goblinoid polearm, a daiko, and he stands there and takes the polearm and just cuts a line in the grass, and then walks in front of it very purposefully. And he looks at all of them and says, "While you seem to believe that your illusory immortality is relevant to this, I can give you a quick instruction as to the merits of my teachings. Normally, I don't teach dogs, but I can make an exception for this day. It's a simple deal. Make me step behind this line. If you do that, well, I will give my full-throated support of your instructions of my child. If not, well, I think you'll know your place." And the three hounds kind of like look at like what's this fucking guy saying? And you notice a couple of actually the wild hunters, the true fae, with their very distinctive blue and green cat's eyes elves, come out to kind of check this out and try to chuckle to each other. And you feel that the hounds kind of, now that there's an audience looking at this, feel like a little uncomfortable. But they all draw their swords and go, "All right, 3-on-1 ain't bad. Time to show this old mortal what it means to truly be a hunter." And they immediately start to like semicircle around Kai-Shen. And as they do, you see Kai-Shen's just holding his polearm with absolute care. And the moment the deer shifter takes one step forward into his reach, you see him, you know that his Daiko specifically is collapsible, so it can increase and decrease its reach as he commands it. And you just see him flip it around, and just the butt of it goes straight into the deer shifter's nose, smashes into it, and they just recoil backwards. And then as he's doing that, the other one, the orc woman, tries to dive in at his side, and he flips it around, using it much more like a quarterstaff than necessarily a polearm, and slams the non-sharpened side of the blade into her legs and just trips her out from under her as she falls to the ground on her ass, before bashing the butt of the polearm once again into her stomach, causing all the air to knock out of her. The third guy tries to jump at him while he's looking at her, and Kai-Shen quickly collapses down the reach and parries the guy's sword slash. And then you see him shove the guy back, extend out the staff behind him, and then stand in anticipation again as the guy dives in for a second round. And with that, Kai-Shen hooks the blade around his back and flips him over the line behind him before smashing into his groin with the blunt end of the polearm once more. And with that, he collapses down the polearm to just like a sword length, pulls the human male back over the line again, and holds it to his throat before looking at you, Soleil, and says, "Remember, precision, focus, and certainty. The only thing standing between these hounds losing their lives and continual service to your mother is me. That is the mantle you bear." And with that, he pulls back up and extends out the polearm once more, walks away, puts it back on its rack, and you see all the hounds kind of very painfully get up from their positions, bleeding and stuff, and holding their various bruised and wounded parts. And you hear very much like the whimpering of a dog that's been chastised as they kind of skitter away as the various fae begin to laugh. And he then picks up the one of the swords, the wooden swords he put into the ground, and hands it back to you. and gives you a smile and says, "Never forget, you're not one of her dogs. You're a warrior. You're my son." And with that, you come back to reality.
Oh man. Ah, I think just with that flood of memories, I do think Soleil starts to cry. It's unnoticed because he's got that deer mask, but there is just a few streams of mist down his face, and he looks to the Diane, just thank you for showing me this place. I know that it means a lot to you. And it means a lot to me to have helped you and be a part of this clan's story, at least in some small capacity. Um, it's been a good lesson.
Smiles and says, "Well, I'm glad that even in my addled state that I could provide you some wisdom." And with that, he he escorts you out of the catacombs, and you are free to return to the hotel. Um, as a point of
Yeah.
mechanics, Soleil has unlocked a new ability. He has the
We
martial prowess trait, which is derived from non-fey based hobgoblins, where you now can choose to once per long rest give yourself a +1 to an attack roll for each ally within 30 feet that can see you, and up to a +5, and you can add it after you've made the roll and found out you did not hit. It's one of the abilities that Kai-Shen had. But it's only usable when you're using swords not in wolf mode.
That's my dad. Um, yeah, I think he's gonna head back to the hotel, but he's gonna take a slow, quote unquote, scenic route. He's definitely in a mode of contemplation. But yeah, he'll eventually make it back. Probably before it gets too terribly dark, and head on back to the hotel.
Okay, enough of that goblinoid nonsense. Let's go to bimbo sheep in this day and age. Uh,
The foreigner.
yep, we
Yeah.
got our Kai-Shen cameo this campaign. We can
Mhm.
move on with our lives. Uh, we come to Aurora. Aurora, you wanted to engage in some conversations with certain boys.
Yes. Um, I just to kind of color, Aurora has probably spent like basically the entire day in the Diane's facilities in different places, learning the characters of goblinoid culture, learning how to draw them, learning how to do calligraphy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and well, she knows like the basics of it, but
Yeah.
like seeing it in person authentically versus textbook is very different. Um, and so she kind of spent like a solid, I would say, like 5 or 6 hours doing that, watching the people do the tapestry and just doing her best to culturally osmosis her entire being into into this culture. But eventually probably just takes a deep sigh of just like the okay, I don't feel ready to do any actual serious drawing, but we'll head back for the day. And she makes her way back to the hotel. And probably as she's entering the hotel rooms, like their little suite that they have going on, probably just immediately just like, oh, right, there's one more. There's one more thing I needed to chew. And she'll just kind of go and just quickly knock on Soleil's door.
Yeah, he'll open it pretty promptly. Just look down at you and oh, Aurora, evening.
Yeah, good evening. Were you having an alright day today as well?
I had a eventful day, I think. It was good.
That's good. I have been putting so much goblinoid culture inside my brain in a single day that my little 101 class that I took in college doesn't even come close to covering.
It's mighty difficult to cram millennia of culture into your noggin in a single day. I commend you for your efforts.
Do you do you mind if I come in and close the door?
Uh, sure.
All right. She'll just kind of go and sit down, set her bag down, and just see like a few books in her hands based on calligraphy and other, smaller recreations of different tapestries just kind of pour out. Bag is way too full. And she just looks over at you and just says, You, I meant to talk to you about more goblinoid stuff. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'll do everything I can. My version of culture might be a bit different
That's
than it
okay.
is here.
That's okay. I mean, this it's about your scars. I remember
Oh,
I said yesterday that I wanted to talk to you about them. So,
yeah. Um, do you, just like the the 101 spiel or
I mean, you tell me your version.
well, resiliency and endurance are key aspects of goblinoid culture. Many of us are fighters in some capacity. There's always been a need to fight and protect, unfortunately. So, it's it's an important feature that a warrior is seen as something strong and beautiful and not broken. Scars do not make you a broken thing. It means that you have fought, endured, and lived. So, and he'll, without any of his usual, playboyish pretense, will undress, uh, the robes from the waist down and show off all of the gilded scars that litter his form.
Funnily enough,
Um,
I just want to add that Aurora was already walking over to kind of look at the scars closer before you started saying that, so very much same page on that.
mhm.
Um, and I imagine she's just going to kind of like raise her hand up to your chest really quickly before saying, "Oh, sorry. Is it all right if I feel what they're like?"
I thought you had a pretty good feel last time.
It's not that. It's just that I mean, she's blushing a bit, just like
No,
I have to. I have
it's
to
all
admit,
right.
I had other things on my mind in those moments, so just
It's
gonna
all right, Aurora.
just gonna kind of trace her fingers along the scars and sort of feel. Is it liquid gold or like what's the best way to
It's like
describe it?
it's like it's like they're tattooed over.
Hmm,
So they use gilded ink to tattoo over the scars.
gotcha. And so she'll just kind of trace her fingers along them and just be like, "Oh, you'd have to be mighty talented at, I guess, calligraphy and such to be able to do that."
Yeah, well, my my father was a talented artist in his own right. He patched me up more than a few times and made sure I had the gilded scars to match the foolishness of my youth. So, but as you can see, and he kind of turns his back a little bit, and there's a few scars that he has that aren't gilded. They're just, normal scar tissue. Clearly, I still made some mistakes even after his passing.
Well, I mean, we suppose it's a lesson I need to learn too that we all make mistakes. Never gonna stop doing that. What'd you say to me yesterday? Got a few years,
Hmm.
room to grow.
Always room to grow.
Always room to grow. Have you ever? Well, I mean, do you want to get them filled in? I don't know if I'd be able to do something like that, but
I don't know. I've I've thought about a lot of things since we've arrived in Juhai, and I thought about seeking out an artist to get the last ones filled in, but I don't know. It's my dad did all the rest of them. It feels a little wrong to let someone else do it.
no. While Soleil is talking about this, Aurora is essentially still like pretty much right up in his face and just kind of looking at the different scars more intently. Says, "You really loved your dad, didn't you?"
Yeah, he was. I know every kid probably idolizes their dad to some degree, but I I really do think that he was the best of men, and I wish I could be more like him.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's insensitive. I stopped myself just now, but thoughts in my head, so what's stopping you from being more like him?
I don't know. We're just he raised me, but we're very different.
Mhm.
And I think after I took to the hunt, it just I don't know. Things changed.
She's going to kind of rub his cheek a bit. You can keep growing.
That's true. That's true. True.
You wear the mask to protect yourself, don't you?
kind of withdraws a little bit at that. It's a hell of a lot easier being a hound.
Believe me, I get it. Much easier to just not think too hard when we live in a world like this.
Yeah. It's not what he would want, though.
No?
Just shakes his head. No.
You think. Well, what would he want?
I think he'd want me to be the best version of myself I could possibly be. But seeing as my own standards are quite low, it's hard to gauge for sure.
She's gonna do like a very soft but meaningful bonk with her horns. Say, well, then why not try a bit more? If there's anything I can do, you mean a lot to me.
Same to you, Aurora. You're a mighty fine lady, you know that.
Oh, stop.
No, I mean it.
I hardly think I'm much of a lady.
You haven't seen the satyrs in the Feywild.
I'm.
You are remarkably ladylike.
Is that so?
Mm.
Well, I mean, I do the best that I can.
If you like. Feelings are a little easier to put on paper. I see you got your art supplies there. I'm sure you can relate. Would you mind just spending some time with me? I can show you a few things.
Like, paint together?
Sure.
I mean,
You wanted to learn goblinoid art, right?
well, yeah, of course. Spent a whole freaking day studying it to try and at least get a good idea.
Let's see what you learn.
She probably like glances behind Soleil and sees like on the table like a few sheets of paper with the calligraphy pets like set just kind of sit out there. It's like, wait, you're an artist?
I probably wouldn't describe myself as such, but
You're an artist?
I
And you've never told me?
you never asked. It never came up.
Wait, I mean, maybe it's awfully presumptuous of me, but whenever we talk normally, it's just like it's not about art.
Yeah,
It's not
usually
about
we ain't
art.
talking at all.
Exactly. But oh my. I I'd love to do art with you, Soleil.
Well, let me get dressed again, and I'll show you a few other tricks.
Blushes a bit, just like God, you got my mind running on places.
I do apologize.
You are awfully handsome.
I know. But he'll, you know, gather himself and grab some sheets of paper, some ink, some brushes, and hand one over to Aurora and um just, takes the time to direct her a little bit, like how to angle the brush just so, the amount of ink to allow the bristles of the brush to collect, um, and just a few, like, basic characters. I kind of imagine that he shows Aurora, like, what her name phonetically in
Hmm.
Goblinoid would, like, look like, since those were some of the first, drawing lessons that he was taught was his own name, and just sort of directing her in a very nostalgically similar way that he was taught.
Yeah, you're reminded of, as you kind of hold her hand going through the strokes, you remember when, you used to sit in your dad's lap as he'd hold your hand doing the strokes. And it's just, there's a whole lot of feelings today for you.
Hmm.
Hmm. Aurora would just kind of like look back up at him and just be like, "You should be drawing that tapestry, not me."
No, I don't.
Yes, yes. So this means a lot to you, I can tell.
Aurora, I've already done my piece and given it to the Diane, who was gracious enough to accept it. I'm not much good at recreating the past, but I do hope that I can help forge a path forward.
Hmm.
I think there's a lot to be said about the power of memory. Sometimes things don't need to be committed to paper for them to be important.
Think
After
so?
all, my own clan, we don't have written history. And he sort of taps the side of his own head. That's it. That's my clan.
I've always tried to commit something to memory via art. And I guess when I think back, it's kind of a little fuzzy, but pieces are something I'm proud of.
The important things are always worth remembering.
You can
I
see.
just
Oh, go ahead.
I just hope I'm remembering it well.
Aurora gets a bit somber in this moment. Kind of goes silent as she continues to do strokes for a bit.
You
For,
alright?
oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm fine.
You got you got quiet. I don't mean to upset you or anything.
No, no, no. You didn't upset me. I promise you that. I just, you got me thinking. And brain just kind of went off. not in a, not in a very happy direction.
want to talk about?
Uh,
I mean, I know we're not. I'm not usually the talking sort, but
it's I can't help but feel like I've lost my way a little bit.
huh,
Like there's some feelings that I feel very strongly, but I don't know why. And there's some things that just don't seem to match up. And I don't know if it's just out of myself, I'm just this complicated woman, but what I do know is just I try my best, and my best has never really been good enough. So that's, yeah.
sometimes you're just trying to impress the wrong people.
Mm, yeah, I bet that's a little bit of that.
Because, granted, I haven't known you very long, but what I've seen so far has been pretty damn impressive.
Mm. No, it's, I know it's what I do is good. I'm very confident in it. It's just the other people don't seem to think so. And so this
Fuck
feeling I
him.
have,
Fuck him.
fuck them.
Fuck him. Who
You
cares?
can't live life on fuck them.
Sure you can.
No, not like that, Soleil.
No, I know.
I mean, I was starving on the streets for a while, 2 different points in my life, because nobody thought I was worth a damn. And even though I knew in my heart that I was worth a hell of a damn, so that cognitive dissonance is just fuck 'em.
Fuck him. Aurora, it's one thing I've learned since coming to this strange world. Is that sometimes you can't trust your own gut. There's there's always more.
Yeah, you're right. You. Thank you.
Anytime.
You're kind of good at this. Said that
I
speaking's not your specialty, but feels like you kind of had experience with something like this before.
well, I've been subject to quite a few lectures about morality and the warrior's mindset. I've got a few committed to memory, though I'm not nearly so eloquent as my father.
He sounds like a good role model, Slay.
Yeah. Aurora,
Hmm?
I don't want you feeling down on yourself. If you've got feelings, big feelings that you can't explain. I mean, that's just living, ain't it?
Her her heart kind of picks up a pace a little bit on the word of big feelings. And then after you finish the sentence, she's like, right, right, it's just living.
And if things aren't adding up, do you feel like, and he kind of tilts his head, those dual colored eyes kind of narrow behind the mask. You feel like you're forgetting something?
I've always been a bit of a forgetful person, so.
No, I mean something important.
Well, no. I don't think so.
Kind of leans back a little bit, giving her a bit more space. Gives a shrug. Well, I'm no expert, but I do know a trick or two. It might be worth asking your good friend Nethris.
Asking her what?
Memories. It's kind of their whole spiel. Just a thought.
Right, just a thought. I'll consider it.
All right. Does that conclude that scene?
Mm-hmm.
Before we jump to the next one, I gotta show off, the what Kai Shen looks like for everybody in chat.
Oh,
Yeah.
the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah.
You ever just see a man so handsome you cry?
Salt and pepper hair, salt and pepper hair.
Delicious seasoning on this man.
A man so handsome, we made a polycule last campaign.
Yeah. Everyone loves Dilf Hobgoblin. Sad Dilf Hobgoblin. But I just had to show that off to give people context. Yeah, next up, Aurora. I think you wanted to talk to a certain gal.
Yeah, if it's okay for this to be like the following day.
Sure.
Okay, I wasn't sure if we had like a hard time limit for how this is gonna play out.
No.
But I imagine just in the morning, Aurora gets up and probably goes to find Nafisa.
She could be like in her room. Nafisa hasn't been going out for too much of the day as of late.
Well, then she'll just knock on your door.
She'll come to the door open and say, "Oh, hi, Aurora. Is everything okay? Or, like, is the hi?"
Everything's fine, Nafisa. You don't think I come to you when things are wrong, do you?
Well, no, but like some other things have been wrong recently, and I've had a lot on my mind. You know, that's all.
Well, I mean, I guess I did come to you to talk about something, but it's it's okay.
Okay, well, you can come in here and talk. If you need to take me somewhere to talk, I am very okay with you taking me. Nix has to come though.
Naturally. I know she doesn't leave you sad.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, I will eventually, not to give it all away, I will eventually want to go to Shreets with you.
Yeah, I figured she'd want. I mean, she knows about all the work we've done so far, so That's good. But yeah, and I figured we'd talk to her before, heading off again.
Hmm.
You're all coming, of course. My sister likes you. She gave you all food. You are mandated to be there.
I mean, naturally.
Mm-hmm.
I
Do
just,
you want to come inside?
yeah, that'd be good.
She'll let you in and just sit on her bed.
I'm not gonna really dance around the subject. I think I really offended her.
How so? Because if you like really made her upset, like she's really prim and proper right now, but I think she wouldn't be above telling you that you made her upset. Like I mean really telling you, like really telling you.
Really? I mean, I don't think it was like that upset. Hopefully not.
Well, she
It's
didn't, so
well, I mean, it's just the side of it where I told her that I'd be willing to pay her for that work that she did. And it basically ended up as you remember with her saying like insinuating that I did this for the money. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but it was just it was a bad timing for me and just poor conversation from me as well.
so it is a misunderstanding. Ah, I see.
I
I
don't
mean,
I mean, yeah, I guess it's a misunderstanding, but I definitely didn't think I was saying anything wrong at the start.
I mean, well, where we're from, we don't really use gold or the money, but Sharit's been here for a while. I think, I mean, there are lots of different cultures, but any work she's done, any help she's given us, she wouldn't want to be paid for it.
Wait, back up a bit. Your your culture doesn't have money?
No, we just, do things to help each other. We do some trading, right? Like with the other tribes that come by, we give them rare stones and minerals from our mountain and livestock, but that's really it. It's a oh yeah, and Professor Jacob said it was a barter system.
Oh, gotcha.
But
That's very unfamiliar to me, if I won't lie.
oh well, you can get very familiar with it if we eventually go there. I mean, I don't want to go back so soon, but eventually you guys will have to go there.
Well, I mean, yeah, whenever that does happen.
Mhm.
But I guess, I mean, I just wanted to talk to you so that way I'd be better able to say sorry. I don't
How
know
would
if. Go
oh
ahead.
go ahead.
No, you
How would
first.
okay, thank you. How would talking to me about it work? Because you have to say sorry to Shardit, right?
I know. Listen, it's a bit roundabout. I understand that, but
No,
I
no, you're
just.
being careful. I see it. Jacobs was the same way. He was very afraid of misunderstanding our culture, but if he fucked up, we would just, rid him for it, I think is what he said. Tease him. It is okay. Shardit knows you're a good person. You're taking care of me, right?
I guess. I
Yeah,
mean,
so
I don't think I'm doing too terribly much. We're kind of just friends.
we're friends. See. So Shardit already likes you. I mean, it's kind of like she's my sister. She has to like my friends. But
Does she?
if yes,
Oh,
I
there's a lot
mean,
of people that I think I knew that I was friends with, and I hated their significant others.
well, I mean, potato tomato. I mean, she might not. Maybe she doesn't like you guys behind the scenes. As long as I'm involved, she has to like you guys.
I don't. That doesn't make much sense.
The liking is complicated, but going back to your point, I mean, I think Sharit, myself, I think anybody that you want to, be friends with would appreciate you being direct. I know you want to be careful about it, but it's worth tripping up if you want to just say sorry and ask her if if you could make up or to do something else, right?
Well, yeah, I think it's just, at least in the cultures that I was raised in, well, money's kind of everything. And if you don't have any money, you don't live well.
I I know. One of the first things I saw when I came to the West is Professor Jacobs and I passed by these people with no homes, and I thought they were, vagrants, but I saw that they were hungry. And in a city so much bigger than my own home, with such big buildings and nice things, how could there be people going hungry?
I mean,
I whip them up good berries. It's just that easy. Why
when I met you, I was one of those people.
you didn't have a studio or a home like Sharid?
No, I've been roaming the fast for a little over a year, just making ends meet by stealing and sometimes selling my pieces. But that was life. I stole a lot, if I'm being honest.
It's not stealing if you're hungry
No,
or
I'm
if you're
pretty sure it
cold.
is. That's not what they would say.
Well, they're wrong.
Is that so?
Well, yeah. In a world like this, no one should have to go hungry or go cold. And if
That's
anybody from back then yells at you about it, I'm just going to beat the shit out of them.
I mean, you don't need to. The shopkeepers are kind of an innocent bystander in this thing. You don't need to beat them up.
Well, yeah, but if they like make it a problem for you, I will.
But I mean, it's understandable if they make it a problem. I mean, I'm stealing their livelihood.
But
Capitalism just fucking sucks.
well, I mean, on the bright side, not everywhere we go has to be like that. I mean, you just found out the place I'm from doesn't use gold. I mean, maybe we could find more places that could give you ideas, inspiration. I mean, Feng wants to change things from the ground up, and I want us to be like super, super famous and have stories and an actual name. And like, what I'm saying here, Aurora, is maybe we could enact some change based on what we see when we travel. People like Professor Jacobs studied other cultures just to do that, to show what other people have been doing, to encourage other people to change. Maybe people don't have to be cold and hungry in the future.
Can I tell you a story?
Always.
I don't imagine you learned too terribly much about the the whole conflict between Erixia and the UFAS.
Jacobs told me a little bit, but it was mostly the adults back home speaking with the Rito tribe about the conflict. It didn't really interest me at the time, I'm ashamed to say.
That's fine. It's not a subject I think many people would want to talk about. But God, if we could make a world that nobody would have to go hungry or would lack a roof over their head, that would be wonderful. Because, well, I mean, people lost their families. And when, an 8-year-old is left on their own, they enter into that same situation. So many coffins throughout the times. And every one was a family member that wouldn't be coming home alive. And then, when the war finished, well, some people stayed and rebuilt, but for some there wasn't nothing left to go home to. So, there's a lot of that, Nafisa. Whole hell of a lot of that. Those people in need. And that's who I want to help. But I guess I'm just a fucking artist. What am I gonna do? How can I change that world? There's nothing I can do, really.
What are you talking about? You don't think your art could be strong enough one day to change people?
I've tried.
Well, I mean, you've tried now. How long do you think my sister's been trying? I mean, she might not have the same lofty goal, but she's been working hard at her passion and her creativity, and her art is moving people. Who's to say yours won't one day? You'll
Maybe.
get with each and every day, each and every adventure, we'll get a little stronger and a little better. And we might slip up some days, we fall down, get hurt, lose a little bit, but as long as we're still here, we'll still have the next day, the next dawn. Might not be today or tomorrow or even next week, but who knows, or maybe one of our adventures you could change how things are like in a city, and then in a state, and in a country, and we can reach Feng's ideals and change the whole world.
Oh, God, I wouldn't kill to have your optimism. I love that part of you, Nafisa.
Thank you. I got it mostly from my auntie and my uncle.
I'm sure they're both lovely people.
I'd really like you guys to meet them some point and see where I grew up. But, for me, the world is an easy place to be optimistic because everywhere I go, I see the potential for the good. I see all the joy and fun there's to be had, all the smiles I've seen on traveling people. And I promise you, each time you lose sight of that, I'm going to remind you, okay?
Yeah. I think I'd love that.
Is Aurora like teary-eyed right now?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, then Nafisa's just gonna fucking hug grapple her.
Make an athletics
So
roll.
she does-
No.
Just
Opposed
the
athletic.
like full weight hug onto the bed because she doesn't know how to hold back.
Okay. I got it.
I'll be here for you, always.
Yeah.
So when we go see my sister, we'll do it together, okay?
Yeah. That would be great.
And I think she'll with Nyx on top too, they'll just be hugging Aurora uncomfortably for like a noticeable period of time until Aurora has to say something.
You know, it's not that I'm not used to something like this, but can I get a quick tap out?
Oh yeah, of course, of course.
You're real strong.
You're very huggable.
I've been told so. I mean, I do have the assets for it.
Don't worry, I won't say it this time. This is a sensitive moment.
I meant my fluff.
I mean, other things contribute to good hugs too, but yes, your fluff.
Yo.
It's
She's
like
in the
an
side eye.
It's like a natural pill. It doesn't matter.
I'm just out of character. I'm just saying, if Aurora was sheared, it would still be just as huggable. I'm just saying. Hands up.
She did shear her neck area before coming here, but probably just look over at Nafisa and just give her a little kiss on the cheek and just say, "I'll be ready when you're ready."
Does Aurora like walk out with that?
She starts to stand up.
Yeah, Nafisa's just blushing and like confused and doesn't know how to respond.
Are you okay?
Yes, yes, it was very nice. Thank you. I will hold on to this.
On to what?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Aurora. I will get ready and let you know when I'm good to see Sharid.
I mean, I'm a little confused now, but sure.
You see Nyx
She'll,
is
like-
also blushing, and she does the thing that like dogs do where they put their like paws over their like eyes kind of thing, and she's doing that on the bed next to Nafisa.
Actually, I like to imagine that Nafisa and Nyx walk Aurora to the door to their room, and then Nafisa's like, wait a minute, hold on. I need to return the, and then she'll just pick up Nyx, and Nyx licks Aurora, and then close the door.
Oh,
Big dragon lick across your face. Surprisingly,
you.
it smells like a frosty Soleil, because that's who she transformed into most recently.
Aurora will just kind of kneel down. Well, it doesn't have to kneel very far because of how short she is. And just will give Nyx a little kiss on the forehead, too.
Nyx says in Draconic, it's like, "Oh, she gave me a smooch." Ah!
Yes, Nyx, smooch, yes.
Just close the door.
Aurora just hears the dragon go, "Gotta go, gotta go."
Huh? Okay. I gotta learn dragon.
When after a few moments, you guys go to see Sharit.
Yeah, we can go see Sherry.
Yep. You go to Sharit's studio. The door is still unlocked. Despite everything, she did not lock it again. How do you enter it, Nafisa?
I opened the door to the is my sister changing?
No, your sister is actually currently asleep. She is face down on one of her work tables. As you see, there are piles of clothing all around her. And your sister has very nice fabric and stuff. So like you see piles of just like really well done, really fine fabric, but like comparatively simple clothing. And then at a certain point you see like more like average quality fabric. Most of those ones are like fairly small pieces of clothing, and you see like more of like an average quality, like a kind of like a denim style of comparative commonality. Just several piles of that. It looks like she's probably been made. There is a half like sewn like pair of pants that's currently like in her sewing machine that she is sleeping on.
Oh, I know how to do. I know how to do this. Nafisa's gonna do the thing where she used to do all the time with her sister, where she'll like creep up and like get under. Like, I'm assuming her sister's like got fabric draped over her as
Yeah.
well as just like a makeshift blanket. She'll just creep in right there and then get real fucking close as if they're like sleeping together. Her head's like just like incredibly close to her sister, and then her sister will just like feel the presence slowly open her eyes and then just see Nafisa there out of nowhere.
And you see her eyes kind of bolt open, and then she grabs you and grapples you with like a real bone cracking hug. And she goes, sister, you're okay after everything."
Yes, I am okay. We know how to fight. Come on.
I'm so happy to hear that. I've been working on clothing for everyone there all day. I had assumed that with what I heard about what was happening, that they probably people would have lost some of their belongings. So I've been working on making outfits for the children and for whoever may need them. And unfortunately, I ran out of fabric and I had to go buy more fabric. And you know, which explains why the children's clothing is made out of very expensive fabric, but the more adult stuff is more like common.
Oh, I mean, if you talk to the Diane of that clan, I mean, they would they'd probably love to work with you, Sharit, to properly distribute and organize and
Uh,
yeah.
yes, yes. Sorry, I was. Once I finished some of this, I was gonna go over today to drop it off. What brings you two here?
Out of character, like, where are we leaving? We're not leaving town yet, right?
No,
Or
you're not leaving town.
No.
yeah. Oh, we thought we'd come talk to you proper, and check up on you, and I like seeing you, and Aurora wants to talk to you, and I like Aurora, so you two should talk, and I will be here. You can keep holding me though if you want.
Cherie kind of fully stands up now, and you hear all the bones popping as she stretches and towering over you. And she kind of sleepily looks down at you, Aurora, and goes, "Um, what is it that you wanted to talk about, Miss Aurora?"
Um, I I guess the just to hold on, start over. I had my whole idea planned out, but I kind of lost it. But I wanted to say I'm sorry.
Sorry for what?
Well, I'm sure my words the other day must have offended you. To insinuating that you do this all for the money. And that's. I know that that's not how this goes, but I felt bad that that might be what you thought of me, and that was the impression that I left. Because that's not it. And I talked to Nafisa here a bit, and she told me you would not be feeling upset with me, but I felt it necessary to come by and apologize nonetheless.
She kind of cocks her head to the side and kind of looks very confused. She goes, "Miss Aurora, you never offended me. You didn't upset me. I sorry if I made it seem like I was upset. I was just processing what had happened in the Penumbra, but I have
But at the very least, what I did was rude to drop that on you in a moment of immense emotions.
kind of shakes her head and goes, "No, no, I'm sorry if I made you feel upset. You didn't say anything to offend me. I just assumed that you just have a different way of doing things where you're from. I didn't take it personally. It just is strange to me, is all."
Well, I guess it is a bit different where I'm from, but that's okay. I mean, the way that Nafisa described it sounds like your whole, your whole place all handles things a lot better than the UFAS or even Erixia did.
Kind of smiles at you and says, yes, where we come from is very different from a lot of these other places, but I've been living outside of the mountains for years at this point, and I understand that you all believe money to be important, and I've done work for it, but I guess at the core of it, my understanding is why would I need more money than what I need to survive and do my art? It just seems like such a strange thing for people here to pursue. But I guess that many of these places do not have the same level of community that we may be used to from our upbringing. But that doesn't upset me. I'm not upset with you, Aurora, about that. If anything, I'd be disappointed in the rest of the world for not doing better for people like you.
You can see she's been kind of like downcast in her eyes the whole time. Kind of looks up to Shree and says, "I'm beginning to see that there's much better ways and much more opportunities and all that stuff as a travel. So maybe I shouldn't be saying I'm sorry as much as I should be saying thank you. I mean, your sister over here is quite the beacon of positivity."
That's my sister. That's my little sister, all right. And she grabs Nafisa and holds her close.
She's just been holding on to her sister this whole time, just like nodding her head with the most fucking like baby face on.
I've only ever lived in a situation where, well, money was necessary to be considered a success. So, I'm happy and excited to learn about more places where that may not be the case.
Yeah. Kind of, it's a little difficult with Nafisa grafted to her, but she does drop to her knees to get more on Aurora's level and looks at her and smiles and kind of puts an arm on Aurora's shoulder, or puts a hand on Aurora's shoulder and says, I hope that my little sister continues to give you hope that there is a better way to live. And I hope that you do not feel the need to measure your own worth based on what's the amount of money that someone is willing to pay for your gift.
God, that would be nice. No, I think this has been good. I feel reassured in a lot of ways. And I think I got you and you, Nafisa, very heavily to thank for it.
She smiles and pulls you into a big hug between her and Nafisa, and vicariously Nick. Small sheep entirely surrounded by dragons.
Yeah.
She does eventually release you.
Mm-hmm.
But She looks at Nafisa and smiles and says, would you like to help me bring the clothes over to the Penumbra?
Of course.
Wonderful. If you could start gathering those up for me, I need to show Aurora something.
Oh, yeah, of course. Just this big pile of boxes, right?
Yes, yes.
Easy, no problem for me. And she like picks up a big pile of boxes and then walks to the door. And then it's like the dog with like the stick in its mouth trying to go through like the fence gate. It just doesn't fit. And she's like trying to wonder, why doesn't it work? Why can't I walk through this? And that'll keep her busy for a little while.
Excellent. So, while you're doing that, Sharit's gonna pull Aurora to a different part of the studio, and there's a like satchel that has been like wrapped up and stuff in very pretty cloth, and she hands it to Aurora and says, if you could just give that to my sister um, when you feel she's ready. She just needs. I made something for her when she gets a bit bigger, and I thought you could just give it to her when you have the chance. When if you feel like she's become a bit larger. She always talks about how she's going to grow big and strong.
Oh, I don't think she's really grown physically very much yet, but I mean, emotionally, I'd say she has.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't make clothing for her emotional growth. She kind of
Oh,
giggles. Um,
right. No, that makes sense.
and when she goes, uh, I trust that you're going to spend a lot more time with my little sister, so I just felt that I would be leaving it in good hands to give it to another artist.
Yeah. No, I can do that. I most certainly can.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Miss Aurora.
It's just Aurora.
Sorry, it's a difficult habit to get out of from where we come from.
No, I get it. It's fine.
Would you like to join us going to the Penumbra?
Yeah, I think I'd like that.
Okay. And she will come to join Nafisa and pick up some of the boxes of clothing and like the just immediately piles them on Aurora. As she then like double fist like an enormous amount of boxes.
Aurora's got 10 strength.
Wow, she's
So-
stronger than the average wizard.
Stronger than the average wizard.
It's all in the hips, baby.
That's
with
literally
your
lifted
legs,
with
right?
the legs. Yep. But yeah, so you guys take the boxes of clothing to the Penumbra and start handing them out to Clan Wang Juhai. The Daiyan is very happy and thankful for the gifts and thanks each of you guys in turn for providing them. And he goes to try and tell the Shinyan to get some Celesti to give her, and she just shakes her head and goes, "No, this is for the community. This is to help make whole what you have lost. I don't need to be paid for that." And the Diane just kind of nods and smiles, and bone poppingly, crackingly bows to her a bit. And yeah, Nafisa, is there something you want to say to your sister?
Sister, I think we'll be leaving Zhuhai fairly soon.
She
The
looks a bit disappointed and kind of nods. I I assumed as much.
um I don't know if we'll see you when we're leaving or if you'll be there, but I'm very happy I got to see you again, sister. You need to send letters back home to your mama, okay?
She kind of smiles a bit sadly and says, "It's wonderful to see you again, little sister. You know how hard it can be to talk to them sometimes when you've been traveling."
I know. But I also know regardless of where you think your work is, mama will still think it is beautiful, okay?
Smiles sadly again and goes, thank you, Nafisa."
Mm-hmm. And once my group has a proper name, I'll be sure to send you plenty of letters, okay? I don't know where it will be, so I'll just shotgun the Isharit letters to like everywhere, okay?
She kind of giggles a bit as she wipes a tear away and goes, "Okay, I'll be sure to check the post offices of every place I go to."
Thank you, sister. And Nafisa's just gonna like just climb back up her sister again, like always, and just hug her.
And she will hold you very tightly and hug you close and go, "Be safe. I know you are going to have an incredible journey, and you have already touched so many lives for the better. I cannot wait to hear about all of the how many more people who you will be able to protect and how many stories you'll be able to bring home with you."
Wait to see what joys you create in this world when you've already made so many.
She
Just
puts her forehead to yours. "May your
It'll be
hoard
good
be
ops.
bountiful."
May your journeys be bountiful as well.
She'll set you down and just say, "Be sure to tell me when you leave, and I want to be sure
Mm-hmm.
to
We'll stop.
wave you off."
Mm-hmm. We'll stop by proper, and then you will come with us to say bye at wherever they're going. Okay?
"Okay." And she kind of ruffles uh, kind of ruffles the hair that you have with like the flowers in it and stuff hanging down. It's kind of plays with a little. Uh, and is there anything else you'd like to say to your sister?
I think that's good, DM.
Okay.
I'm sad. Thank you.
Okay, with that, you guys have kind of done all you were gonna do in Zhuhai. When you all get back to the hotel room, um, Omega will just be standing there in the living room and look at you all and say, "Have you completed your various side endeavors in the city? Are you ready to progress further along our actual objective?"
Yeah, I think that is everything. Have you figured out where we need to go next?
"We believe that there is a stronger ley line flow farther to the north. We believe that if we are to go to the farthest north of this continent, we should be able to get a thorough enough ley line energy reading to be able to see if we have additional information here."
Okay.
That sounds promising.
Yes. I I think that sounds a good enough plan.
Uh, then we should secure transportation.
Okay, so Nafisa just has a pocket map.
Hmm.
And this train? Looks like a good train out from here to there.
Yeah, no, train sounds great.
Mhm.
Excellent. You should procure passage.
Yes. I think I can procure the passage for
It's early in the day. We can do it the same day, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we'll take care of that. Okay, we should probably tell Giacomo and the rest of the ship crew that we'll be taking a train up here, right? And just so they know what we're up to, and that we don't just have suddenly disappeared, and they get a new free company, and
Yes.
Good call.
mhm. And then we should tell everybody to come say goodbye to us. My sister, the Diane,
looks at Soleil.
yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
okay. That sounds good, everybody. Is there anything else we need to do?
That sounds good.
I cannot think of anything.
Okay. Then let us go get tickets and grab people to say goodbye and tell ship that we are going to this place.
Okay. Yeah, you can get train tickets to go to the far north. The train, you as you look at your map and stuff. The uh, uh, Omega says, um, we do not have an exact reading at this point, but we believe that if we get closer, we'll be able to more thoroughly pinpoint where we need to go. So at that point, we will alert you and we can secure potentially additional passage to other locations.
Like a little compass.
Omega kind of sits there for a second. Uh, in essence. So yeah, you can basically get tickets to the end of the line of the main train that goes across the country. So the Solari Empire is a north-south kind of focused country. On the eastern side of the Sunspear Mountains, which run most of the Solari Empire. Um, so there is a train that goes basically along the coast, essentially. If you, none of you are from California, but if you've ever heard of the Pacific Coast Highway, it's this one like
Yeah.
interstate that goes like down the coast of California. It's very scenic. That's kind of the main train line going up and down the Solari Empire. Um, and it's called the Radiant Road that goes up and down to the far north, south of the Desolation, all the way down to the southern tip of the Empire. Um, so I believe that you probably just get a train ride going up there, and um, the train will end somewhat distant from the Desolation itself, because from what you understand is that the Desolation is basically it's a no life zone. So the Solari Empire has apparently a military presence up there for preventing something about the Desolation from affecting other areas. So the train doesn't go like straight up into the military zone, but once you get up there, you could probably get transportation of some sort if you had to go closer to the Desolation.
Noted.
Yeah, you get
Stay away from scary zone.
but yeah, you can get your train tickets, and they're comparatively easy to get. You issue your warning that you all are leaving. Sharit and the Diane with the Shinyan and the Shuyan will be there as well to see you guys off. Is there anything else you want to do in Zhuhai before you leave?
And we inform the crew that we're like
Yeah, and you tell the crew. Yeah.
There's some light shopping that I would want to do, but it's nothing like important to do on screen, I think.
Okay.
Beyond that, you know what? I think this is the first time Feng is just going to try to casually wear the mask out and about, and I think there's a certain sense of confidence that goes with it. Maybe it's not necessarily magical, certainly psychosomatic. And I think when it gets time for the various goodbyes, I think she has a little bit of a flourish with the Diane, and I think she, despite her own self-consciousness otherwise, I think she bows a little bit more to Sharit as well. And it was a pleasure meeting you, Sharit. I can only hope that the next time is under better circumstances, and perhaps we can get to learn a little more about you in detail. And I I don't think she can bring herself to do like a hand kiss.
Oh, okay.
But she definitely has a handkerchief. That's definitely going with her.
Excellent. Sharit smiles, and everyone smiles at Feng in her mask being more confident. People on the street kind of look at you a little odd, but the Diane and crew plus Sharit smile and say, "It certainly suits you, Feng-chen. May your ancestors guide your path and lend you their protections in your pursuits."
You do me an honor. I can only hope I do as much of an honor.
And Sharit will go and squeeze Nafisa once more time, and also picking up Nyx in her other arm, just squeezing them against her. She's crying. She's crying a lot, but you know, she does let you guys go.
If I may,
Yep.
I think Aurora's just gonna kind of nudge Soleil forward.
Think with the not so subtle nudge, I think Soleil will approach the Diane and just give a very deep and respectful bow and just say, "Thank you for everything, welcoming us into your home and making me feel welcome."
He just smiles and says, "You have my thanks and that of my clan, and we are deeply thankful for everything that you all have done for us, and we wish you all of the best in your future endeavors. Thank you." And he kind of pats you on the arm a few times.
I hope we can be back soon. I'd like to come back.
You are all friends of Clan Wang Zhuhai, and we will be sure to show you a much better evening of celebration than the last opportunity we had to spend time with you. kind of chuckles a bit. Yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to do when you get on before you get on the train?
Nothing major, but I think Soleil would also approach Sharit, and even because he's been kind of quiet around her. He hasn't had like a lot to say because it's been girl time. But he'll just kind of approach her and give her a reassuring pat on her shoulder. Now don't you worry none, Miss Sharit. We'll look after Nafisa.
Sharit smiles and goes, "Oh, I know, but I know more likely than not, Nafisa's gonna be the one looking after you all." And she kind of chuckles.
Entirely possible.
And she'll give Soleil a hug.
Give her a big hug too. It's a bear hug contest.
You are much stronger than her because you have magical steroids, but
yeah,
she's still pretty sturdy for literally a seamstress.
Yep.
And with that, you guys can say your goodbyes and get on the the train heading north on the Radiant Road. And unless there's anything else, I think this is probably a good place to end since we started later today. So thank you guys. I hope you guys had fun. If you haven't done so already, please go check out all of these wonderful players. They're all great people. They all have campaigns in their own right that you should go watch. Some of them I'm in. So all of them, at least one other person at this table is in. And they're all awesome. If you haven't done so already, please give me a follow here on Twitch. Give me a sub over on YouTube where I have every episode of the campaign. You can also follow me on Blue Sky to see all my art and stuff, and you can join my Discord, the Eternal Citadel, and be a part of my incredible community. I want you all to know you're all beautiful, amazing, and valid people. I hope you enjoyed spending your night with us nearly as much as we enjoyed spending it with you. And never forget the most important part, which is that the world is better having you in it. We'll be back here on Wednesday for, I am going to be doing the first session of our solo D&D adventure with the character that we made together last week, so it should be a lot of fun. It's kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure novel, but like with D&D and combat. So come on by to see Gobby Lynn Bernadette, the Goblin Bard on the high seas. And that'll be it. We're going to go raid my friend the chef, who is currently playing Night Rain with some of his friends and having a charity fundraiser. So let's go send up some love. If you feel like giving, you can give. If you're a follower, copy down the call to hugs. If you're a sub, please copy down the knight's message. And I hope you all have a wonderful night and the sweetest of dreams. Bye!
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.